Hey everyone, welcome to a brief overview and tutorial on the mapping software that we use in Wormhole Space in our group, and many other groups use it as well, called Pathfinder. It's very user friendly. What I'm going to get you to do first before I walk you through Pathfinder is log in. So the website is pathfinder-w.space. And when you're there, you're going to log in the character you want to use. I won't walk you through that because it's going to show my private details. And then once you're logged in, you're going to be presented with a screen that looks like this. It's going to say, hey, do you want to make a map? Just go ahead and say yes, name it whatever, and save it, and it'll make a map. Once you're there, looking at the main screen, you're going to have a little blank map. You're going to go to Menu, Account, Share, and you're going to enable private maps and corporate maps, and you're going to hit Save. Okay. What that's going to do is it's going to give you access to any maps that are shared with you. So because this is a shared map, one of the administrators will have to add yourself or your corp to the map before you'll have access. Once they do that, you might need to refresh the page. Sometimes, if you've recently changed your corp to join them, it may take a day for Pathfinder to recognize that you're in their corp. But just be patient, it will show up. So Pathfinder is a mapping tool to help us view all our connections leading away from our wormhole, which we call Scotland Yard here, to all the other wormholes and to Empire Space. It also helps us share information about those systems across the team, so that I don't have to describe to you, oh, in this system, Malal, there's this, and that, there's been this activity. We can just click on the system, see the information. You can see that it's highlighted red, meaning it's hostile. And I can put any notes in there that I want, like, don't go in uncloaked. Alright. And then when you are looking at the map, if you click on Malal, you'll see my notes there. So Pathfinder will also show us the state of our connections. We can see here this one is pink. That means it's end of life. That means it will be gone within 4 hours or less. I can indicate that a connection is bubbled. So there's somebody there waiting to trap you and blow you up. Pathfinder will also tell you how old a connection is. You can see those numbers that pop up. So if the first line tells you how long ago we created that connection on the map, and the second line tells you how long ago we updated it. You can see on the connection over to Malal, over here, that it was updated just a few seconds ago, that I put a note in there. So that's when you hover over the airplane icon here. On the map, we can actually, on Pathfinder, we can actually post the signatures in the wormhole. You can see that our signatures list here is actually quite old. They're not the correct signatures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the signatures from our wormhole here. I'm going to click on one, Control A, Control C, and then in Pathfinder, I can select our system, and I can hit this button here to delete the old ones, and hit Control V. It's going to paste in the new signatures and delete the old ones. Then what I can do is, as I scan them down, I'm going to copy it again and repaste, and this is going to recognize that, oh, this one has been scanned down, it's a wormhole. This one has been scanned down, it's a relic. And it will actually put that in this list. And then there are drop downs to indicate any further information, like if it's a wormhole, where it leads, that sort of thing. Threats like bubbles. If it's hostile, I can set this as a hostile system. This one is green, it's empty, there's nobody living there. And additionally, since we use a coordinate system for our bookmarks, we can add those coordinates to the name. You just double click on our system, and then you can add whatever information. You can see I've added a Z there. I can type in any info like lots of SIGs, whatever I want. And it will post that on the map with the name. It also shows us detailed information on the systems. So like for example, I can click on Malal, I can see that there was some action there recently, I can see how far it is to Amar, I can look at the Dotland stats, so in the last 24 hours, ship and pod kills, how many jumps into the system, if it's a busy system or not, if people are ratting there. We can also copy and paste these sites in Empire systems, or the anomalies rather. And we can share intel. So like for example, if there is a structure in Malal, I can add that structure, type, Athenor, whatever, and it's offline. And it is Volta, as an example. Okay, and then when I save that, anybody coming in can see that information that I've posted about that structure. Alright, so let's go over the whole interface here. This is the map, and when you click on a system, it's going to call up information. It's going to call up recent Zkill board activity in the last 24 hours. It also has a link here so you can open up the full Zkill for that system. It's got the structures section so that any structures that I scan or want to manually input, I can. You can add systems by right-clicking and add a system manually, or if there is a system and we actually have a secondary connection there, we can drag the name over to there to the next system that we want to connect it to, and it will make a new connection. It's got links for the Dotland, so let's say for this Empire system we want to kind of see what that area looks like. We can click on this link to see Dotland, and it's going to show us the neighborhood. We can see here the neighborhood. It's got ice, it's got lots of jumps. It's also got a link for Anoikis. When you click on a wormhole system, Anoikis is detailed information on the system, so like planets, who's been in there, activity over the last 90 days. This is like a heat map. You can add systems to this routes window, and it will show you the range to those systems. So like for example, JITA is important. I'm going to say find me the HiSec route. It's going to tell me how far it is through HiSec. So that's very useful. This window is for Thera, so we can actually sort by region, and this is going to tell us all the different regions where there is an entrance to Thera. And based on our regions on our map, we can see if there's something handy for people to use Thera to get in. I've got another video on Thera that you can check out in the Quick and Dirty Tutorials channel. These windows, you can move them around to make them more convenient. Let's say I want my Dotland stats up at the top, I can move it up there. I prefer to bring my signatures right below the map. So building the map, I use a pacifier because it is interdiction nullified and warp core stabbed, and it gets bonuses to probes. So for example, I have 98 strength on this, which is my ideal. I find that when I do my scanning, if I use an 8 AU bubble when I do my scanning, let me show you here. I find that anything between the 10 and 15% range, right off the hop rather, is either a lower class wormhole or a gas site. So we're going to see here JFL. JFL is that, and we've got IEW, that's a C2. We've got UQ8 is a C2, so there's low class wormholes. Alright, so when I'm building a chain quickly, I'm going to focus on those results. And again, this is based on a 100 strength, about a 100 strength. Anything between 10 and 15 is usually going to be a lower class wormhole that we use to build our chain quickly, or a gas site. Alright, so Before we go anywhere, we're going to check our Z kills. So like even before I undocked, I would want to be checking the Z kill for my system. We can see there's nothing. Before I go into another system, I would want to check the Z kill, make sure I'm not walking into a hot system. Alright. So we are going to go through one of our signatures that I haven't been through yet. Let's go to whiskey. The other great thing about the Pathfinder is it's super fast. This thing goes like 12 AU a second. Alright. So we're going to go through a C2 static. So always we're going to make our bookmark first. We went through whiskey, so we know that this is asterisk whiskey and it was a C2. Now if you ever forget, you can just click on the system information, and these letters A through F, I think, correspond to C1 through C6. So this is a C2, so it says B. Alright, so we've made our bookmark. Do it on the wormhole, not from any probe scanner results whenever you make a wormhole bookmark. That way the bookmark is at 0. If you were to do a bookmark from your probe scanner results, the bookmark is going to be 6 or 7 kilometers away, and if you're trying to escape, you might die. Alright, so now that we're through, we're going to check the status. Make sure we didn't cause any shrink or whatever. Should have done that beforehand. And now let's go into here. So we are here. Okay. So now we're going to add whiskey so that people know what it is. We can check our statics. We got a nice big C3, got a high sec, that could be very handy. Now let's say we've jumped in and suddenly there's a dictator and he's thrown up a bubble. We're going to turn on our nullification, go to our GTFO tab, let's get the fuck out tab. We're warping to the mining point, and when we do that, we're going to hit cloak and that. The reason we hit MWD is so that if somebody tries to ram us and decloak us so they can tackle us, we're already moving away from our last position. While we're in flight, we're going to make a random bookmark. This is going to be our safe. Let's double click that. Safe. When I land, decloak, pop probes, warp to my safe.
Warp drive active.
So now if somebody had tried to grab us on the wormhole, we have our way out, and we've also escaped before they could grab us. Now you might be doing this in Instero. Same thing works with Instero. If you just align to your GTFO point and hit your MWD and cloak, they won't be able to decloak you most likely before you escape the bubble and then warp off. If it was safe and there was nobody around, what you could do is make a rolling ping. This is useful if we don't find this wormhole desirable, we want to get rid of it, or it's too hostile, whatever. We can actually send the rollers through and close it. So if you make that ping in advance, it helps the rollers do this much easier and a lot more safely. So to make the ping, we'll find some point in space where there's nothing, and then start burning. Let's check our D-scan again, it's clear. So I'm going to go ahead and use my MWD. Now, in our map, we're going to adjust the position. So sometimes it'll just appear over here. We want to make it less cluttered. We've got our name set. If the connection was bubbled, we're going to add bubble, but it's not. So we're going to check the Z-kill to see if anybody lives here. What we're looking for is repeat customers on the system Z-kill. Ooh, Ministry of Inappropriate Footwork lives here. Alright, so this is at least occupied. Now let's pan around for structures. There's the structure. Let's double check this name. Dumpster Holdings. Okay, so it's just their holding company. All right. Has there been activity here? No, so I won't set it as hostile, just occupy. Okay. All right. So we've got a high second here we're going to look for. Now we are going to find the signature of our current wormhole. This is a little trick you can use. So we're at our bookmark. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little 2AU bubble over top of that bookmark. And that's going to actually give us our entry signature right away. So we can see we are at MCK. Let's go ahead and add that sig to our bookmark. Okay. So now we've got a cluster of bookmarks over here. We're going to make our 8AU. We're hunting for that high sec. It should give us the kind of result we're looking for, somewhere in the low teens. That's us. All right, I'm going to try this guy here. Note of UUO. Try that one again. Looks like I was a little bit off the mark there with my bubble. There we go. So this will be one of the statics or gas. If when you get to 4AU you get a result over 50%, it's almost certainly a C1 or a high sec, something like that. There we go. Now on this third pass we'll have it. Remember, this is probe strength of 100. If you can get it there, it's very easy to predict which signatures based on your initial result are going to be the ones you're looking for. Okay, so we've got that one. Let's bring our bubble out here, see what this guy is. I'm suspecting this is the other static over here. So here's our high sec static, first result. See how easy that is? So, based off of our bookmarking system, this is Whiskey Alpha, the first system leading away. It is the high sec static. Signature is RLL. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to add our signatures. Control A, Control copy. We've added them. MCK we know leads to Scotland Yard. It's going to be an exit to Scotland Yard. This one here is the high sec static. We don't know yet. Alright, so now we're going to go through. So first let's check the status. It is good. Okay. We know it's a large. We can go ahead and add that after we go through. So based on the color you can guess where it goes. Red is going to be Minmatar, blue is Caldari, green is Galente, and gold is Amar. So we're going to be in Minmatar space here when we go through. Alright, so first thing we do is make our bookmark. Asterisk Whiskey Alpha, high sec, Lustravic. Let's go to our map. Whiskey Whiskey Alpha. Check our ranges on this system. We've got Dodie in 10. 10 DO for Dodixie. Now, we know this area, but what we can actually do is, let's say we weren't familiar with the area, we wanted to see what was around, if there's anything worth going to, we can check the dot land again. See that, okay, here's where we are. Eyster, there's Heck, so that's very handy. We're 2 jumps away from Heck Trade Hub. Perfect. Alright, it's high sec, so we don't really need to worry about the stats. We could check the Ezekiel if we're thinking of doing some high sec mining there while we're connected. Not a lot of ganking. Excellent, so this could be useful. So let's go back through. Now that we've got all this, we're going to report in our findings. We've got this C2, it's got only 3 sites, meh, but it's got some ore for mining. So we're going to report in. There we go. Now in the Scotland Yard MOTD, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Lustrevic to Whiskey. Right click, auto link, solar system. Update the time. Good to go. All right, let's head home. So there you go. That's basically how we use Pathfinder. It's very handy. I can see that when I log in, I can see that at Whiskey Alpha, we've got a shortcut to Dodixie and Heck. It's through an occupied system, but not considered hostile, as in it's not active. If I wanted to, I could scan out the C3, find some decent gas sites in there. Super handy. Alright guys, that's about it. I hope this helps.